networking, referrals, strategies for success, and real-life stories from professionals who are building a business based on relationship marketing. Welcome to the Caerusnet Podcast. Here, you'll learn how to stay connected in the local business community and become that person others get to know, like, and trust, and refer to. And now, your host, Caerusnet founder, Steven Zyskowski.
Well, I wanna tell you all the places we can go.
Okay, welcome to this special edition of the Caerusnet Podcast. I would say almost 100% of the time now, I think I've been interviewing only Caerusnet members, and I'm kind of going through a format expansion for the podcast. And for today, I think I've got my first non-Caerusnet member interview. However, I would say that this person is just as much like-hearted and like-minded as all of our Caerusnet members. Mauri Rene. She is an Amazon bestseller of the book Making God Number One in Your Business, also a serial entrepreneur, currently doing StepUpReferrals that she's really excited about. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Oh, thanks, Steve, for having me. I just love your group, all your people, and I'm just really happy to be here with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's really kind of fun, the referrals and the networks. If you're somebody who is what I like to call a dot connector, somebody who likes to think about how people find you, who are the people that introduce you, experiences that you've had in life, maybe earlier in life than later on in life, you go, oh, that's why I had that experience, right? So Caerusnet members, I would say they're like-hearted from the standpoint they really love seeing other people in their community successful, like-minded from the standpoint that they appreciate it when other people go to bat for them and create referral opportunities. And so you were introduced to me by one of my awesome pals in Caerusnet, and that's Trae Bohlen. She's a phenomenal branding photographer. And because this is a special episode, this is going to be a really cool conversation, and I think a lot of the listeners are going to get a lot out of it. So, first question I've got for you, Mauri, is how did Trae connect the two of us together? What did she say to you that made it so you and I should connect?
Oh, this is so funny. She said, and I don't even know if she realized that we live in the same state or anything. She just said, there's this guy and he's, the head of this group that I'm in, and he's just amazing and awesome, and you need to meet him. And I said, oh, okay. And she's always right. When she tells me to meet somebody, she's usually right that it's somebody that I should meet. And then, you and I, we got to talking, and we're like, yeah, we should. It's good we met, right?
Yeah. And giving you just a little background to that, here's why I think Trae wanted to connect us. Trae had visited several different referral organizations in years past. One of them was a group of ladies that used to travel around from home to home or business to business, and they would do like a once a month meeting. But she discovered that she really wasn't in the same vibe with them, that it was kind of a little cliquey, just didn't really hit home with her. And she had done some other things as well too, but she was not getting any success in the world of networking. And then Hope Heron, a real estate agent on one of my Ann Arbor teams, referred this photographer to me. So it was Trae. Trae visited several different Caerusnet teams, but she was still feeling a little bit of disbelief that a good referral networking organization could actually, meet her goals and expectations, and that she could find a place she felt like she was at home with. And when she visited like 3 different teams, and I'm not a pushy person, I like people to feel really good about a decision when they make one. And so after visiting all these teams, she said to me, Steve, I'm going to pray on it this weekend, and let's talk next week, and we'll see what God says. And I loved that she told me that, Mauri, because In years past, anytime somebody's said that they were going to pray on it, God says, join Caerusnet. Are you kidding me? And so God told her to join Caerusnet, and she's been a team MVP. I mean, she's just off to the races. She's found her groove. She found her tribe. And God said, this is where your tribe's going to be. So that just sets the stage for this conversation that you and I are having, right? Because um, we're going to be giving you a lot of time to talk here today, but I got to set this stage. I'm a person that every day in the morning when I wake up, I kind of go through a ritual of prayers, and I listen a lot. I was not raised in a family that went to a church, that opened a Bible, that did any of that. It was just not in my family. But I always had a spiritual feeling of love for my fellow man and woman, and always a mystery, like, what is this all about, right? So I discovered a stronger relationship with God later on in life, of course, after going through a lot of trials. And so every night and every morning, I begin and end my day talking to God, thanking God for the things I'm feeling grateful about, praying for other people, praying for strength to give people what they need from me, all of that stuff, but all within the context of kind of a non-religious type experience, more of a spiritual slant. You and I met over Zoom to get to know each other. It was an initial meeting, so you just never know what's going to come from one of those. But we traded books. I sent you a copy of Gods of Opportunity, and you were kind enough to send me a copy of Making God Number One in Your Business. And you had a little special message in there. Do you mind if I read it really quick? All
Sure.
right. So, Steve, it was so great to meet you. I'm looking forward to seeing how God uses us in the future. And here we are again today because I think you and I have a special relationship that we've been able to form just through how we like to operate. So, let's talk about this first. Let's talk about this book, Making God Number One in Your Business, which is an Amazon best-selling book, best-selling author. So that is really cool for you. What a great accomplishment. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, after some very tough times, it's quite a long story, but basically everything in my world crashed and I got closer to God and he took care of me, just like he promises that he will, he will provide for us and get us through the trials as long as we keep our faith and trust in him. And when I got through it all, the last thing that happened to me was I almost died. And I was in the hospital, literally dying. And the doctors are like, well, I have to laugh now about this because day 6 in the hospital, they said, we're going to do an emergency surgery and see if we can save your life. And I'm like, emergency, it's day 6. I've been dying for a couple of days. Like I was really life coming out of me. And so I made it through, obviously. And I was okay either way. I told God, I said, if you take me, I'll get to meet you face to face. And if you don't, you'll get me through whatever's next. Well, after a long recovery and I couldn't work and just so much going on and falling apart in my life, I just said, God, you kept me here for a purpose, but I'd like to know what it is, please. Tell me why I'm still here. Because I'm okay with being here, obviously, but I just want to know what you want me to do. And I had written a couple of business books just for my consulting business. And so I didn't aspire to be an author. That wasn't my thing. And he gave me a title of a book, Making God Number One in Your Business. And I was like, huh, that sounds awesome. But I'm not the right person to do it because I always ran my business in a godly way. I've been a believer for my whole life, but I didn't feel qualified. And so I kept going to people and saying, can you help me with like my pastors in my church? And I just went to all kinds of people and they just kind of like, huh? No one was really anxious to help me. But that's because God was waiting for me to do something. And that was sit down at my laptop, throw my arms in the air and say, all right, what do you want me to do? And it was like a Holy Spirit download. He just started pouring into me, told me what to research, what to do. And that's how the book happened. It's people used to tell me stories like that and I'm like I was a little skeptical because I'm like, how does that work? I always wondered, like, why doesn't that happen with me? Like God doesn't like download stuff into my brain like that. But yeah, he does. It's just you have to listen. And so that's how the book came along. And there's actually a workbook that goes with it, because the vision he gave me is for people to work together on this, small groups of business owners who want to hold each other accountable and expound on the teachings in the book, and actually do something with it. And so that's how the book got started.
Yeah, that's really super exciting and daunting too. I mean, that's not a small challenge. Um, Here you've got the word God, right? And everybody has a different take on what that's going to mean. Sometimes there's an emotional reaction. So let me ask you this. Uh, what's the most positive thing or positive two things that you say have happened in your life since you did publish this book and move forward?
Oh my gosh. Um, I've had people reach out to me. I don't know how they found the book, um, because they aren't anybody that I know, that have told me the stories of what happened after they read it and what they did and the changes that they made. And I literally had one guy, this is so incredible for me. Part of what the book teaches is to glorify God with your business and lead people to Jesus. And a lot of people don't realize that they can do that with their business. They're so worried about legalities and the world and everything. So I had a guy tell me that he actually, after reading it, made a few changes, and he led 3 people to Jesus that worked for him as subcontractors. And he had never, he's very involved in his church and he understands evangelism and discipleship, but he didn't think about it in the business world. And so he decided to talk to his subcontractors, and say, hey, do you know Jesus? And now they do. I mean, it's stories like that. And on my podcast, it was so funny because I had a lady on there and I said, well, tell me what it did for your business. And she goes, oh, I don't even care about that. I want to tell you what it did for my life. And I'm holding back the tears because I'm like, oh, I never, I guess I didn't put that together. I keep, I'm such a business. I've been an entrepreneur for 31 years. So business, 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 right? And it says making God number one in your business. And she had it lead or make God number one in her life and change her life. And I think that was one of the most incredible, those are the 2 most incredible stories that I've heard from people. And I've heard a lot of them, but those are the ones that touched my heart to the point of tears. Like, this is doing something, like this is meant to do this. I don't know what God has planned for all of this, but he's showing me. And I love it when he shows me, when he shows off. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And just being able to be engaged by people that you've never met before, to know that something that you've done is helping people, that to me, life is pretty simple. Leave this place better than you found it, and I think everything will be just fine. But what you've done is really, faith is incredibly important. I think that for me, having faith is what allows me to, when battle time comes, so to speak, it allows me to stay grounded and move forward, maybe during times when in the past I wouldn't have been as strong or might have been shaken. Faith to me is getting up in the morning and not looking down before you put your feet on the ground. You know it's there, right? The ground will be there for you, just like you have faith in God being number one in your business. So give me an example, if you don't mind, of where having God number one in your business, maybe, this is an interesting concept because, most people, when I'm reading the book, most people say that they've done everything. Hey, I built this business. I did all these things. I've grown this. And yes, of course, we are the physical people doing those things, but there's a beautiful force that's flowing through us that's allowing us to do these things. You talked about like an antenna a little bit, downloading stuff, right? So if your antenna is open, you will receive. If your antenna is not open, you're probably not going to receive. And question that I've got for you is, do you have an example of, where having God number one in your business, listening to God might have had you do something differently, perhaps, than if you didn't consult with God and just went with Mauri, the outcome might have been differently.
Oh my. Yeah, a lot of them. He really does guide me. The coolest part is of him being, the owner of your business and you stewarding it is it's kind of lonely at the top, right? When you're the owner of your business, who do you go to when you have a decision to make or something is falling apart? I mean, I owned a construction company and a couple flooring stores for 25 years, and you want to talk about things going wrong? Those are the types of businesses that you're just going to have things go wrong. Having him as the guy that everything's going to fall on his shoulders, not mine. The joy and the peace that comes with that. So when I go to him, it makes me, first of all, take a minute, take a breather. Don't react to a situation so quickly. Wait and see. There were times, especially like in those businesses, where you want to react right away, but you stop and you listen and you wait and you listen and you're like, okay, now I know what to do. He really did guide me in a direction. There were a couple of times that, I could have made a decision that would have possibly ruined my entire business. And that's a big deal when, the business, it wasn't so much about me. I can get a job, I can start another business. But what kept me up at night were all the families that depended on my company to keep them fed. All of the guys that worked with me, doing all the work. Every night, that's what I thought about is I have to do the best I can so that they have their incomes coming in. And that's where God really helped me because I knew that as long as I kept my faith in him and he would guide me in the right direction, it would help those people as well. Whether they were believers or not, I don't, some of them I don't even know if they were or not, but that didn't matter. You love God, love people. That's what God says. You love everybody, not just believers, not just certain people. You're supposed to love everybody. And that's my love for those people who worked for me is what kept me going and driven to succeed in business. And then God is the one who helped steer me because he knew my love for those people. He really, and still with all my businesses, he knows my love for the people. And my reward in that is being able to serve them and give them what they need or help them in a way that, like God just works through me. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've gotten from him in business all these years is with him, all things are possible, right? And if you're not and if it's not all about you and you really truly have a heart for other people, he will use you and he will make it work out. And not that you won't have any trials, because you will, but he will give you the guidance you need so that you don't stumble as much.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing, I think, especially even for solopreneur type businesses where, you're wearing every hat in your company, sales, marketing, operations, the whole deal. And it can be a lonely place sometimes. And to be able to have a communication line, right? That red emergency dial phone that's already connected to God is kind of a cool thing because you're not alone. And I think that's a really important feature. Another thing that I'd mention about the book, and maybe you can elaborate on this a little bit. I got a lot of laughs out of it because there were some areas of your book that reminded me of me a little bit. I used to own a mortgage company in the early 2000s that was put out of business during the financial collapse. And quite often, I was meeting other businesses. They'd be coming to my business. I'd be meeting them in the conference room, getting to know who they were. And I just spent the majority of my time trying to be helpful to people and connecting people that I knew would be enriched because of that, because of wanting to be helpful and also not having, I just knew if I did those things, kind of like you in your book, that by doing those things over and over again and then not having my hand out Every time I do something nice for somebody, if I go like this that's serving me. It's not serving them. That's me serving me. But when you are serving other people with truly the intent of bettering them and their lives and their situation, and that's all you're hoping for.
Mhm.
That's like the most pure giving that there is. And because that giving is not distorted with manipulative means, uh, that's why I think I get so much reciprocation, is because people want to refer back to me because they know that I'm giving to celebrate who they are because I want to see them better. So maybe you could just paint the picture for the listening audience here. You had a really funny story in there that reminded me of me where you had a flooring company and you would have real estate agents and other people coming into your flooring company, and you'd be spending lots of time with these people, helping them do things. And it wasn't like you're making a sale that day, and other people in your company are like, Mauri, we got to make this cash register ring. What are you doing? You got to stop being so nice. You can't keep giving all this good stuff away. So share your perspective on all of that.
Well, I don't know where it came from, but it was my first flooring store, and I had a business partner, and I just knew that I needed to help other people. And besides, it's just how I was wired. I love helping people. I love. My mom said when I was a kid that we didn't have a lot, and the few toys that I have, and most kids, they're like me, mine, and they'll take. She said that when kids would come over, I'd be handing them what few toys I had to share. She said I've just always been very giving. So part of that is just in me, right? And I can't help it. Like I just can't help myself. So I was out helping all of these businesses because I could. And I know that sounds crazy, but I was so excited that I could help people. I could match make businesses and I could get people business. And I just had so much fun doing it. And yeah, and she says, when are you going to work on our business? You're all helping everybody else, but when are you going to do something for us? And I said, oh, just be patient, just watch, it'll all be okay. And I don't even know where that came from, because it's not like somebody laid out a plan and said, if you do this, this is going to happen. I just, in my heart, I just knew that I was doing a good thing and it would all be okay. And as I was doing all of that, it didn't take her long to realize that the bank account was going up as much as I was working, and wasn't working on our store. I was working on everybody else's, and our bank account was just, I mean, we were getting sales like crazy. And the more I did for other people, but I will tell you, it's not a tit for tat thing. Like I helped a lot of people, and especially my second flooring store. I helped people really, really grow their businesses tremendously. I mean, I helped one guy become a millionaire, and I didn't charge anything to do it because I had plenty of money and it wasn't a business thing. I was just helping him. And he had the opportunity many times to help me, but he never did. To this day, he's never, but I am so okay with that, because when I see his family and how they have gained the lifestyle that they have, everything that they have, the horses he bought for his children, the great times that he has, I was part of that. Like I helped do that, and I feel good about it. So did I get anything in return from him? No, but I got a lot in return from others. And that's why I love pay it forward so much. The words pay it forward. And I live my life and my businesses in a pay it forward mode, because when you're paying it forward, you don't just pay, the whole pay it forward, like that movie that was out a number of years ago. They talk about, okay, instead of paying it back, pay it forward. I even go one step further. Nobody has to give me anything for me to even pay forward, right? I just keep paying it forward and doing for others. And I feel it brings me joy to my heart. And that joy, somehow or another, I don't know how it's happening, but I've always been very successful. And I know that Zig Ziglar said, that if you help everybody else get their dream, you'll get yours and all that. I never remember exactly how to say that quote, but um, it's true to an extent, but you can't expect it. And I think that's where it comes back to, in like the Bible, for example, it talks about you reap what you sow. And that is so very true, but it's not an exact, it's not like a science. It's like, okay, if I do this one thing or this one thing for this one person, or I do this or that, I'm going to get. If you've got that attitude, I don't know why, but it just doesn't work. I mean, it might. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it doesn't work, but it doesn't work as well, and it's not as meaningful. I want to have joy. If I'm going to make money and do well, I want joy in there, not greed. And so I go to it with that attitude. And I'm a happy camper. I'm just a happy person. and and you can't buy happiness,
No,
you
no,
know?
no. And you know that phrase, I say it a lot at my CRTS meetings, the Zig Ziglar. And it's that if you help enough people get what they want in life, you'll get what you want too. And what you're alluding to is that help getting what you want, right? So what is it that you want? There's a lot of things that you might want, right? So being open to all the different ways that you can receive without doing it from a perspective of greed. Was that a monetary exchange or was it a joyful exchange? And when it's a joyful exchange, you're setting the stage for the monetary gains later. But again, there's also an element of patience. And it's interesting, Mauri, because I interview a lot of people throughout the week that are interested in visiting CRTS teams, and I ask questions of these people. Do you have any experience being in any sort of a structured referral type organization? Have you done anything like this before? Because some have and some haven't. And I like to set the stage with my new members about this time horizon, the seasoning of relationships that needs to happen for you to get success in this, right? So I really encourage people to be patient and persistent, and it's a wonderful thing. And for most people, they really hear that, they get that, they accept it, they understand why. But I do have some people from time to time that'll be like, I'm afraid if I join I'll just give so much, everybody's going to take all of my giving and I won't have anything. And I'm like, that's just such a, like, for me, I can't even think in that world. No, I can't even really relate in that world, but I understand where it comes from. I understand where it comes from. And so very interesting stuff. And I love, again, like I said, what you've done in the story, because what you're doing is being a servant leader, a servant business leader. People see that in others, and that's very inspiring. I highly recommend anybody watching this, if you're curious, just get the book. It's a great book. You'll see yourself in it, I'm sure, somewhere. Let's talk about a couple other things. So, you're an entrepreneur, you had a surgery, you've had other challenges in life, and your strong relationship with God is the reason for your joy today. And so much so you wrote a book, and you've also started another enterprise called StepUpReferrals. And that might be something that our CRTS audience would be interested in learning about. So tell us about StepUpReferrals, and all of the stuff's going to be in the show notes. So, links to StepUpReferrals, links to the Amazon page to purchase the book. But talk about StepUpReferrals if you don't mind.
Sure. Back when everything was crashing in my life, I will do just a few bullet points because it was a lot over a couple of years. But I went from being healthy, wealthy, semi-retired, everything. Like I had it all. Everything was great. And I was in a 21-year marriage, and everything just went away. Divorce. The person that I sold my final business to, that was my semi-retirement. Well, he quit paying. He filed bankruptcy, and I lost all of that. I had a little cabinet sales and design business. I had one builder. He quit building. I mean, like it, over a period of time, like everything was just going away, and I'm finding myself alone, broke, very sick, hospital bills on top of the very sick, and the healing, and the recovery, all of that. But right before I went into the hospital, before I got sick, I had already been through quite a bit. The guy filing bankruptcy, all these things happening to me. And I went to bed one night and I'm like praying, God. And I didn't pray for me either. This is so bizarre. I kept saying, God, there are other people that are business owners like me that are in my situation due to circumstances beyond their control. They're in trouble. I'm in trouble. How can I help them? Like, what can I do to make it better for small business owners? What? And the next morning, I woke up with this business plan in my head. So I tested it out, and in my hometown, it's where I was at the time, and it actually started working pretty well. But then that's when I ended up in the hospital, and everything kind of got put on hold, and then that's when he told me to write the book. Well, about, I don't know, sometime maybe about 9 months or so ago, um, God kind of brought that to the forefront again. And I'm like, I wonder if it's time to start it up again. And so I'm like, well, if the right people come along to help me to do this, because this is way bigger than me. I've built multi-million-dollar businesses before, but this one is a whole different animal, and it's going to take a whole lot more than just one person. And I thought, well, if the right people come along that can help me and really make it go this time much bigger like it's supposed to, then I know that I'm doing the right thing. Well, lo and behold, a couple of people come along. It's just, the timing was too, I don't believe in coincidences. So we get to talking, and I have these people saying, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I want to be a part of growing this. I want to help. I want to be involved." And so we started, and we just literally launched a couple of weeks ago with a true soft launch, I guess you call it. And what it does is, and it's so much bigger than I thought it was going to be. I just wanted to get exposure, visibility, and help to small businesses. That's my passion, help them. And when I did it before, all I was doing was creating a place for people to go and getting the public involved and stuff. But this time, oh my gosh, I did God-sized or supersized step-up referrals, because now I found out that we could, not me, my web development team. I'm Miss Tech challenged here. So my web development team, they could build this site so that people and people's businesses could put so much information on it. And every single thing that they put on it, every single social media, website, podcasts, videos, you name it, everything that they put on their listing gets boosted with SEO, off-page SEO. And I'm like, what? We can do this? And they're like, yeah, we can make this happen. So they literally, if you have a podcast, for example, it will not only boost each episode, but every time you load your podcast onto, say, Spotify or iTunes or Apple, whatever they're calling it these days, one of those, it literally grabs, our site goes and grabs your next episode and puts it on there for people to check you out. So when they go to the website and they see you, they can look at your podcast. If you're a musician, they can see your latest music on Spotify. If you are a flooring store owner, they can see a video of your shop or your jobs. Or if you're a hair salon, they can see the beautiful hair you do. I mean, it's just incredible. Well, so while you're getting visibility of everything in your business, which you can grab the link and use as a digital marketing card, on top of all of that, SEO and everything else, there is a platform created, a private platform for people which is all included, that they can go in and meet people in their industry and collaborate, or they can meet people in their town and collaborate, and I'm hoping have some fun. I'm hoping for mentorship. It's not a networking group per se. It's more of a collaboration, like someone who's been in the automotive industry for 25 years, and you got this young kid with a wrench and he's really good and he wants to start his own business, but he's kind of like, I don't really know how to do XYZ. Maybe the guy that's been doing it 20 years can help the guy that just started and say, hey, you know what? Here's how I solved that problem. And I think I'm really going to create a pay it forward, because I live by pay it forward. I want to create a pay it forward environment in there. We're going to have contests. We're going to have all kinds of stuff, but I really want people to pay it forward and help those that are where they once were, at the beginning. There's a few courses and classes in there. They're very basic, but people still need some basics. And I mean, it's just this, I have built this to the point where it's going to help small businesses so much in so many ways. And that's my dream. My dream was to help small businesses in a big way for an affordable price. And thank you, Jesus, because I got to do it. And now we're starting it. And I'm so, so grateful for that because it's all I want to do is help people. And the really killer of it all is all of that I just mentioned. It's $30 a month, the price of a lunch. I mean, so when I asked God, I told, when I, especially as we've been building it out, I'm like, God, it has to be big. It has to be good for the businesses, but it has to be affordable because a lot economy's not so hot right now, and people need to do a small investment and get a big ROI. And I did it, and I'm super excited. Well, I didn't. Glory to God, I didn't do it all by myself, obviously, and I have teamwork here, but I'm sorry I'm so giddy about it, but this is my dream. This is something I've been dreaming about for years to really truly help people because I've been there. I've been on the top. I've been in the bottom. I mean, I've been everywhere with business and life, and I know what it's like, and I want to help everybody.
Well, and I sense a great success with Step Up Referrals. I think it's a really cool concept. And, and I can relate, when I started Caerusnet in 2008, I was doing very well owning a mortgage company until I wasn't. And you understand, obviously, with the things you talked about, where things didn't go as planned, right? Somebody that was going to buy your business, fund your retirement, goes out of business, right? There is no sure thing when we're dealing here. There's no sure thing other than how you choose to conduct yourself, right? And how you choose to respond when things do happen. And I think that you've had a lot of experiences, the same as me, divorce after 13 years, yours was a little longer. But, closing of businesses. I didn't have any health emergencies, so I'm extremely grateful for that. But I had my first taste of depression when everything happened in my life. And, I'm a person that normally wakes up with a jolt of energy right away, but I didn't want to get out of bed for a month when all of that was happening. So, we're human. We're designed to experience the whole dial of emotions that we were gifted with. And of course, we would love to just sit there and laugh and smile all day long. That would be nice, but you can't appreciate a smile and a laugh until you've shed tears and cried hard too.
Amen. I love that. You nailed it. That you can't know what good is if you don't know what bad is, right? If your
Yeah.
life was perfect, you wouldn't even know it was perfect.
That's right. And having faith, like you coming back to this, to Step Up Referrals, which was a business you came up with a while ago that had to get put on the shelf for a little while. I had fantasized about starting something like Caerusnet while I was in BNI. And then I got thrown out of BNI and started something called Net Shui with a group of other people where it was like feng shui meets
Yeah.
network, right? Positive energy networking, Net Shui. It was fun, but it wasn't real productive. It wasn't what I was hoping it would be. And that's why CirrusNet started. And so sometimes you've got to go to the bat a few times before you're going to get your first hit. And unfortunately, I think people expect things to be easier in life than they are. We've got something we talk about at our CirrusNet meetings called the emotional cycle of change. Which is a normal cycle people go through when they start something they're excited about. They're all, jacked up how great it's going to be. And then things don't maybe go exactly the way they're expecting. So now they're hesitating just a little. Wait, is this as good as I thought it was going to be? And then they have no luck at all, no success at all. Then they're in the dumps and they're like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. What other shiny thing can I go off to? And the reality is in life, anytime you're going to be successful at something, it's going to be because you are going to be sticking to that success and not bailing at the first sign of resistance. So, God put it in me to start CirrusNet and to stay with this. And I'm amazed all the time at the success stories and just the beautiful things. Some don't even have anything to do with referrals, and that's okay. it's fine. I mean, I sell the business based on referrals, but I know all the other beautiful things that'll happen for the right people in this business. If they're a member, what they're going to get out of it's far beyond just referrals. They're going to get so much more out of it. Um, so let's see. What are you doing next? Are you going to be following up? And number one, special request here from Steve Zyskowski. I would love to get a copy of that workbook to go with my book, so I can see what I'm missing, and also be a great advocate for you. Are any additional plans for any book writing? Anything else to follow up with us?
Not yet on the book writing, but I am working on groups of people, Christian business owners, for example, who want to go through the book and workbook. I'm pretty excited. I have something coming up here in my area where they want me to lead a bunch of business owners with the book and workbook, and that is going to be so exciting for me. So not any writing at the moment, but just getting people together to work on it. And I think that Step Up Referrals is going to keep me really, really busy as well for a while. I think it's going to be, it, like I said, it's going to be much bigger than me, and I'm going to need a lot of help. And so that's going to take up a lot of time. So between those two things, that's all that I see right now. But you know what? I mean, God can change things in a second, and I've seen it happen in my life many times. So I'm just gonna, just keep doing what I'm doing. You can't be directed if you're not moving. So I just keep moving forward, and he's either gonna tell me to go left or right or whatever, but he can't direct me if I'm sitting on the couch.
I think that's called free will or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll keep going, and if he decides to steer me in another direction or what have you, that's great. But for now, this is what I see, and I hope this is what I get to do for a very long time because I really love it. I love what I do. And my dad always said when I was a kid, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I feel that way. Like it doesn't feel like work. Not when you're helping people. In my flooring stores never felt like work either, in my construction company for the same reason. If you love it, and enjoy it and you're happy, then it's not hard. It's not, I mean, not that trials won't come along. I mean, I'm not saying that it was easy, everything was easy, but it wasn't, I didn't dread getting up in the morning. I never dread getting up. Oh, I have to go to work today. I never have that. And I think that a lot of people are missing that. If there is one thing I could say to people, if at all possible, do something that you love and enjoy because life is short. And if you are every morning going, or every Sunday night dreading Monday morning because you have another week at that place, whatever it is, then you need to do something different because we weren't meant to be in that situation. We were meant to have some joy in our life. And between my faith, and God gives me faith and hope, and also he has a sense of humor, so he has given me that. I enjoy that. So always laugh, love what you do, laugh a little bit or a lot, and life will be good. Life will be much better.
Yeah, don't take yourself too seriously. Like you said, this is a very, very quick experience that we have, and we will be taken care of, and it keeps going. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just an amazing, amazing thing. Mauri Rene, I am so grateful that we had this opportunity to share how we got connected. Thank you, Trae Bohlen. And one other quick little note too. So Caerusnet, I don't, we don't talk about politics ever at our Caerusnet meeting. You want to divide a room, that'd be the first thing you'd do. Second thing you could do would be talk about whose religion is better. That might screw things up as well too. So we don't have those discussions at our Caerusnet meeting because that's not the purpose of why we're there.
Right.
Caerusnet creates so much goodness in people's lives that those that are already have found God, they're even more joyful and more celebrating. So while I don't do any of that, Your book has some pretty good company on my bookshelves behind us. You're next to a good friend of mine. His name's Gino Wickman, wrote a book called Traction, EOS, just a phenomenal. And then Bob Berg, Go Giver, and then there you are with Making God Number One in Your Business. And I'll let you know that I've had several CRTS members and visitors inquire about that. Hey, I noticed that book. Tell me about that. So, we're doing good things. And nothing that I'm ever going to do is going to be in anybody's face at all, period. And I know you're the same way as well, too.
Right.
Let people find God. Don't be the one, they'll find him on their own if that's what they want.
100%. Step Up Referrals is a totally 100% secular business. It is founded by a Christian, me, but it's not, will people see anything about me, about Jesus? Yeah, because I have my own business on there, which is the book and everything. But I will say this, Jesus never told us to push or try to pressure anyone into believing. If anybody says, it gets in your face about God or anything else, they miss the boat. They don't understand the meaning of any of it. It's something it's voluntary, and it's not supposed to be pushed or pressured or anything like that. And there are Christians that are joining Sip Up Referrals not because of any other reason, but they got a business and they want to make money, and they want to
Nothing
do
wrong
something
with
to
that.
pay it. No, and it's a pay it forward environment, and they want to be in a pay it forward environment. But I have a lot of friends that are not believers. They even, despise my religion, and yet they still want to be a part of pay it forward. So it has nothing to do with that. So I'm with you on that. Like, I truly, obviously I would love for everybody to get saved and all that, but that's not my I was gonna say it's not my business, because it's none of my business what other people do. I know that sounds stupid, but like I'm not gonna force anybody. Do I want that for them? Yes, I pray for people all the time, but I'm not gonna push it, because that isn't the way it's supposed to be done. So I
Isn't
have,
that true with just about anything, though? I mean, anything that
yeah,
you pick up in life and find value in, especially if it was something, you've heard the term rabbit holes, right? People go into
yes,
rabbit holes to learn information. And a lot of the times rabbit holes just, they don't lead anywhere other than to confusion. And sometimes we go
yes,
down a rabbit hole and we go, holy schmoly, that wasn't what I thought at all. And I've done my research, and that's true. But
yeah,
then if you go to try to share that with other people who weren't looking the way you were looking, they're gonna be, why are you bringing this up to me?
right,
What are you trying to achieve here? It's, let people come to you with questions, or if they express
right.
a thought that you go, wow, I wasn't expecting that person to say that. Maybe there's an opening to have a conversation. That's the best way to do it.
100%, 100%. Love it.
Okay. Well, Mauri Rene, again, I appreciate your gift of time today. I know this isn't the last time you and I are going to see each other because we both do live in Arizona. You being out of the Phoenix area, I'm 30 miles away from the border in southern Arizona. So I know our meetup in Tucson is going to happen at some time here in the future. I'm looking forward to meeting you and having a lunch or breakfast. But thank you so much for being on this podcast. I know I'm going to have a lot of Cirrus Netters that are going to get value from this today.
Thank you for having me.